Welcome to week 8 of Walking into Wellness. This week's topic, the benefits of walking and physical activity in nature. Let's get into it. Today we're going to discuss understanding and physical activity guidelines and declining physical activity levels. We're going to talk about the positive health impacts of green physical activity, and we're going to talk about the importance of being connected to nature. Each picture you see in the slideshow today is a picture that I have taken out and about on my walks throughout the country. Enjoy. So what are the physical activity guidelines? The physical activity guidelines are put out every 5 years, and it offers guidance for physical activities recommendations for all ages, preschool age children, kids and teens, adults, older adults, women during pregnancy, and adults with health conditions, and adults with diabetes. So it covers every aspect throughout life, and they give you really good recommendations on how much physical activity you should be getting every single day. Here's a breakdown. Preschoolers age 3 to 5, they should just play throughout the day. They're not going to tell a preschool age kid that they need to walk for 30 minutes a day every single day, but they do give guidelines to say that kids 3 to 5 need to be playing throughout the day. Now, school age children, the recommendations are 60 minutes a day. If you remember the NFL Play 60 promotion that came out a few years ago, that promotion was trying to get kids to understand the value of being physically active for 60 minutes a day. They also want to incorporate muscle strengthening 3 days a week and bone strengthening activities 3 days per week. For adults, the recommendations are 150 to 300 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity per week, or if you're doing vigorous physical activity, it's 75 minutes per week to 150 minutes per week, and also incorporating some of those muscle strengthening activities. As we get into older adulthood, we still want to shoot for those 150 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity, and we want to be doing muscle strengthening 2 days per week, but we also want to incorporate balance training and balance activities. As we get older, it's easy for us to fall, and when we fall, sometimes we can break bones, and a lot of times it's hard to come back from those hip injuries or those leg injuries if we do fall at an older age. We covered the physical activity guidelines a little bit last week, so we won't go too much into that, but just as a nice review of what we talked about last week in terms of the physical activity guidelines. If you're just getting started, that's not a problem. Any physical activity is better than none. You can walk your dog. Yesterday was National Physical Activity in the Garden Day. You can rake the leaves, you can vacuum, you can play tennis, you can play catch, you can stretch, or you can do any other physical activity that you've done throughout your lifetime. A great physical activity that can be done throughout a lifetime is swimming. Not a lot of us spend a lot of time swimming because we don't have a pool or we don't have access to a lake. So there's a lot of physical activity you can do, and again, any amount of physical activity is better than none. And the health benefits of even just starting a walking program or just starting a physical activity program, the health benefits are exponential. Why do we need to increase our physical activity levels? About 1 in 2 adults live with a chronic disease, and of that group, about half have 2 or more chronic diseases. Only 1 in 4 adults fully meet the physical activity guidelines, and the consequences of this are huge. $117 billion in annual healthcare costs are associated with inadequate physical activity levels. 110,000 premature deaths per year could be prevented if adults were more physically active. It pays to get up and move. This next slide shows the impacts of our physical inactivity. Only 2 in 5 young adults are weight eligible and physically prepared for basic training. That's a big one. That means if 5 men or women go to sign up for the military, only 2 out of those 5 are weight eligible and physically prepared to join the armed forces. And a lot of folks have really put their impact in on this. Alan Peck, Lieutenant General, has said long-term military readiness is at risk unless a large-scale change in physical activity and nutrition takes place in America. We have to improve the way we're eating and the way we're moving. Let's talk about the benefits of green physical activity being out in nature. Now, to put this simply, 99% of human history has been lived in the elements of nature. We have only had air conditioning for 1% of human history, and probably even less than that. We have not had the benefits of indoor programs or indoor spaces. We have lived in nature. People sought nature for survival skills, health, pleasure, physical activity, and entertainment. And for a long time, being outdoors was the only entertainment that people had. We have so many other forms of entertainment these days, but we have to get back to some of the basics in order to really enjoy the benefits of green physical activity. Not everybody is motivated to be physically active just by the health benefits. So if I come and tell you that if you go outside and exercise, it's going to lower your blood pressure, just telling you that might not be enough to get you to be physically active. Promoting the social and entertainment value of green physical activity might be more successful than outlining the health benefits. So if I say we're going to go outside and we're going to take a walk, you're going to be with friends, it's going to be social, that may have more of an impact than saying if we go outside and go for a walk, it's going to lower your blood pressure. We really have to change the way we approach physical activity and the ways we talk about physical activity. Some evidence suggests that exercise might feel easier when performed in a natural environment. So if I go for a run on a sidewalk and I go for a run in the woods, there is some evidence that suggests that the run in the woods, even if there's more hills, roots, and stumps, may seem easier than running on the sidewalk. Now, there are not a lot of physiological benefits and actual health benefits that change from running inside to running outside or walking inside to walking outside, but perceived effort does seem to be less when you're outdoors. So you don't think that you're having to work as hard as you are if you're walking in nature or compared to walking on a sidewalk or on a road. All types of green physical activity improve self-esteem, negative mood subscales such as tension, anger, and depression. And here's a big one: lose the headphones when you're in nature. That first 5 minutes of green physical activity, those first moments when you're outside in nature in the woods, have the biggest impact on mood and self-esteem. This suggests an immediate physiological and mental health benefit. So take those headphones out, embrace yourself in nature, listen to the sights, listen to the sounds, okay? It's going to be absolutely wonderful for your health. Now, despite evidence suggesting that natural environments facilitate physical activity and provide health benefits, connectedness with nature is declining. People are going outside and playing less. A lot of it can be attributed to screen time. A lot of it can be attributed to just general laziness and lack of enthusiasm and inspiration to go out and explore all that nature has. So why don't we go outside and play anymore? There's just simply better options inside for those folks that have shorter attention spans. A lot of kids, when they get home from school, what do? They get on their phone. They watch TV. They're on the computer. When I was a kid, we went outside and we played out in the woods all day long. We did not come in until my dad whistled. And as soon as you heard that whistle, you knew to get your bottom back to the house. But we were outside playing in the woods, building forts, making trails. We spent most of my childhood outside and playing. What are some barriers to participating in nature today? Okay, you talk about bugs. Okay, some people just don't like being outside. Some people have sensitivity issues to the sun. A lot of people, they just don't feel comfortable out in the woods. It's best to go with a friend if you're in the woods. You don't want to go by yourself out in the woods. If you need to, take a friend, take a dog, take somebody with you to participate in nature, to really be connected and really enjoy all that nature has to offer. This picture here on this slide is one of my favorite pictures. This is from a local park. This is from Shaking Rock Park in Lexington, Georgia. It's a tiny, tiny, tiny little park, but these giant rocks are all along the trails at Shaking Rock Park. It's really, really neat to see. And these rocks are over 10 to 15 feet tall at some point in time. So make sure to get out and check out Shaking Rock Park in Lexington if you haven't already. There's a great book I'd like to suggest. It's called Last Child in the Woods, and it's called Saving Our Children from Natural Deficit Disorder. This is a great book by an author called Richard Louv. He dives into why we don't go outside and play anymore. He talks about the boogeyman syndrome. He talks about the fact that, when you go outside to play, your parents tell you to be careful. He suggests saying pay attention instead of being careful. It doesn't automatically instill a sense of fear in you if you tell them to pay attention instead of telling them to be careful. So this is a very good book. I highly suggest you pick it up. You can get it at Barnes & Noble. You can get it online, Audible. Any way you access your books, you can find Last Child in the Woods. It's a really, really great. We have the opportunity here in Athens, Clarke County, to have a variety of open trails and spaces that give us an opportunity to connect with nature. And inside of the email and the Facebook post today, you will find a list of all of those parks and links where you can find out more information on how to get out and about when you're traveling through Athens, Clarke County, and to our trails and open spaces. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to our wonderful walk tomorrow morning. The weather looks beautiful. Have a great evening.